What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes or Google Play, or you've checked me out on Twitter, or you've listened to one of the many nice things that people have said about the show, which I don't get why, but people say nice things about it sometimes, and that's also pretty encouraging. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Alan Torres. I met this man on Twitter with the help of Thomas King, one of the former guests on the show. He directed me to him, so I reached out to him, said, hey, heard you wanted to be on the show, and he was down to be on there. So if you want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Alan Torres. Do you remember what got you started playing games? Was it a family member, a friend? Did you go to a store and just get mesmerized by one of those awesome kiosks at the end cap? What got you started?
Well, it was pretty much family members at first. I'd go visit, my older cousins and stuff like that. They had a Sega Genesis, which is probably the earliest thing I remember playing. And so I'd either be watching them play Mortal Kombat, or I would play Sonic, or like that unnecessarily and ridiculously difficult Lion King game. Yeah, that's pretty much my earliest memory, I think.
How old were you watching Mortal Kombat?
Oh man, I don't remember how old I was exactly. I was too young to be watching them play that, but I mean, I don't know. It left an impression on me because I remember it super clearly. I remember like seeing all the fatalities and stuff like that, but then again, it was like Sega Genesis, so it didn't really look that, realistic. But I guess for the time, it was obviously, it made an impression.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was kind of like, that made a lot of people lose their friggin' minds when it came to, ratings and all that, because obviously they were like, well, now we need ratings when, that was about as realistic as they could look. But also, too, that was just a completely different art style and stuff. Like, that was taking pictures of people and doing all, to find out how they did that is kind of crazy. Like, they took pictures of people in poses, and that's how they kind of did the animations for stuff, which is why it looks so different. But, because I remember some Comic-Con or something, there was a panel that they had with all of the cast of Mortal Kombat. And it was like Jax and Sonya Blade and all these people that were the actual stand-ins for the arcade cabinet. So I was like,
that's cool. That's
really cool. But yeah, man, when you have a realistic looking person ripping someone's head off, I can imagine that leave some sort of impression on a kid. But it's weird too, though, because like up to a certain age, I just think it doesn't register. You know what I mean? Like in your head, you're just like, you're too dumb to realize what's going on and everything. So I think that's kind of what happens. But then you hit one age when you realize, oh no, what is he doing to that person? And then that's when you start getting scared. So, at least,
I had to be about 5, so I don't even think I knew what was going on.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It was just cool stuff happening on screen.
Yeah, exactly. It was these bright colors and flashing lights, and that will attract any kid who, no matter what it is. But hopefully there's not some kid out there who saw Mortal Kombat 5 and ended up taking someone's heart out of their chest. I hope that wasn't the case. That'd be probably pretty bad. But then you had Sonic, and then The Lion King, which is a kid's game, but just ridiculous. Some of those games.
That game
then,
was,
man.
I don't know if it was that I was a young kid that made it 10 times harder, because everyone's trash at games when they're younger. But even watching my older cousins play, it looked to be difficult for them too. So I was like, wow, this is just unnecessarily hard.
Yeah, it sucks because games you want to
especially for a Disney game.
Yeah, it's aimed at kids, so you want to think it'd be a little easier, it's not like the Lego games are impossible because they're aimed at a younger audience, you know what I mean? You'd figure that's what they would do, but no, I don't think they gave a shit back then, because they were just like, whatever, man, it's The Lion King's on, who gives a shit, man, just put the game out. Which is why we have that super bad taste in our mouth of licensed games, because 99% of them are just trash. They're just terrible. Really, really bad. Some are cool, and it sucks because some are some people will think certain ones are cool, but then they go back and play them later and they realize how hard they are, or they're just not good. Nostalgia messes with your head like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think I have a good memory of any licensed games like that.
Yeah, I remember.
Sadly.
I'm trying to think of the licensed games that I had. Like, of course, I had a Power Rangers game, which I think I've just talked about in the show before. It was just like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and it was one of those like games you could beat in 30 minutes. And I'm sorry, Mom, that you bought that because that was a big waste of money. And then I had Lion King. I talked about it on an earlier episode. I had the Cliffhanger video game for Genesis, which I have no idea what I was thinking. Like that movie Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, God.
They made a game for it, and somehow I ended up owning it, and I don't know why. It was like, it was one of those, like, there wasn't much of a choice, but somehow my eye led to that. And, yeah, that was really bad. But then again, like some of the games back then, like it depends on what you think of like a license. Cause you know, like Turtles, for example, like some of the Turtles games were amazing, like really good.
Yeah.
And then some weren't, but you know, like Batman for NES was ridiculous. Like it was so hard, but I remember a Batman Return game, Batman Returns for Genesis. I just remember it being cool. Like, again, maybe it was just because Batman Returns was awesome. I don't know. But I was just like, man, this game's cool. That's one of those games I should go back and try to play and see if it actually was good.
Yeah.
Or do I just remember Batman Returns being an awesome movie and think the game was good too? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, too, a lot of those games back then weren't terribly long. Like, I actually just recently got Comic Zone and Sonic CD off of Xbox Game Pass. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, because I'm trying to just beat a bunch of games before Far Cry comes out, because once that comes out, I won't be playing other things. And the games are like 2 hours long. That's it. Like, they're really not that long of games.
Oh, wow. I don't remember it that way. That's funny.
Right? Isn't it? That's what I'm saying. It's weird because you remember games, except for Power Rangers, because I completely remember that being a 30-minute game and my mom being pissed. But, like, most games you didn't think were, like, some of those licensed games were just a couple hours. Like, most Sonic games aren't super long, really. There's a couple levels in each of the different stages, but you know, especially Sonic, because you're fast and you can fly through that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of weird.
Also, that was like the age of like, if you die, you have to start the entire game over. It wasn't, there was no like checkpoints and autosave. It was like, no, you're screwed. You have to start from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
So that probably adds to the memory of them being longer.
Yeah, I mean, if most games you had to restart from the very beginning, like there's some games that happen like that where I know there's people like somebody, I'm trying to remember, they did Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 without dying, and if they died, they would restart from the very beginning. So I'm not talking like the guy did it as like a marathon on Twitch, I believe, but he literally did it to where if he died in Dark Souls 2, he would restart 1.
No.
And I'm like, no. We don't do that. That's just cruel and unusual punishment. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, I would not want to do that at all.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's just, but yeah, like you said though, and especially when the games were hard as hell and you just die a lot, you got really good at those first couple stages though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that always
you get them down perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. You could do them with your eyes closed, and then you get to that part where you're like, oh, this is new, and then you die. And then, you know.
Exactly.
Have to
That's pretty much how it happened every time.
Until Game Genie came out, and that shit was awesome.
Yeah.
Game Genie helped us out with unlimited lives and level skip. Nothing like that. So you played it over a family member's house. Did you eventually end up getting your own console at your house?
Most of my early memories of gaming are always playing other people's consoles. Like I was either going to my cousin's house and watching them play, or I was going to another cousin's house and then they'd have like, this was like the next generation, they'd have like the Dreamcast or they'd have the N64. It wasn't until, I don't remember which came first, but it was getting a Game Boy and then also getting a PlayStation 1. Those would be my two first, my first handheld and my first home console. And my father had bought it for me, and he pretty much hogged the PlayStation 1 for the first couple of weeks because he was playing Metal Gear Solid.
Nice.
And all I would do was sit there and watch that. So if I wasn't watching Mortal Kombat, then it was Metal Gear.
Right. I mean, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, at least your dad was cool enough to, like, get you the stuff, but also he recognized, like, oh, this is kind of cool as hell, too. That happened.
Yeah.
My parents weren't as into games. Like, they really just weren't. They didn't really play as much or anything. My dad occasionally, I remember, like, there's a picture of him playing a Nintendo, which I was like, I don't remember that shit at all. Like, I don't ever remember that. But I remember my grandma, because she had bought a Nintendo for her house because I would go over there all the time. And instead of doing, bringing it back and forth, she literally got one over there for me. But then it ended up being completely hers. And she got games that she liked, and she wouldn't stop playing that shit. She would, I'm sure your dad did the same thing. Like, my turn, go away.
Yeah.
I got Metal Gear to play. You go somewhere else and play with something else.
Earlier in the day, I was able to play my Crash Bandicoot and my Spyro and whatever the hell else I was playing. And then come 4:30 when he got home from work, it was like Metal Gear time. And that's all I remember.
Right. No, it's completely understandable. I mean, also too, with Metal Gear, that was so many people's game where they just basically, it opened up their eyes to what a story could be. Because there's story in games before, right? But just like the level of acting, the level of characters, the level of storytelling, just the random crazy shit like that, Hideo Kojima threw into the game of like reading memory cards and swapping controller ports and looking on the back of a game case, like the physical game case. Yeah. Just so much crazy shit. And I think that's the one game that like a lot of people woke up about and they were just like, Jesus, this is what video games are now. But what's funny is go back and look at Metal Gear 1, like graphically. Oh my God.
It looks like
it's
hot garbage.
Bad. It looks so bad. Yeah. The GameCube, when they redid Twin Snakes, that's when it looked cool. But like, dude, Metal Gear 1, that's a rough game to look at.
It's rough.
It's super rough. Absolutely.
I remember it so much better. Like in my head, it looks so much better than it probably would if I looked at it right now.
That always sucks because it's, you know what it is? It's just that era of gaming. PS1. I swear to God. PS1, 64, that era, you think in your head it looks so much better, and then you go back and look at it and you're just like, Jesus, this is just bad. It's so bad. I did that with Resident Evil 1. I have the Xbox One version and it's HD, and I was like, wow, this game looks really good. I didn't know that was the HD remake on the GameCube version. Oh, okay. And I was like, this game didn't look that bad. And then I go back, I was like looking at YouTube videos of the original Resident Evil, and it's just atrocious. It's just so bad. And again, at the time, that was cutting edge. That was next level stuff. That was amazing. But it sucks because in a way it brings you out of the experience. Like, you play it and you're just like, dude, this is really rough. Like, other games aren't like that. Like, Super Nintendo games aren't like that. Nintendo games aren't like that. Just that whole, they were learning 3D. And everything had a point. Like, Snake's head is not really round. Like, there are some very sharp edges on those people's head. Like Cloud's hair, I'm sure that was designed like that because the hair wasn't going to look like hair. Hair was going to look like Cloud's like spiked up points, and that's what they made him look like. It's just, it's just crazy to think back. But, even Spyro and Crash, now everybody's losing their damn mind because those games are coming back, or Crash is back, and now Spyro is probably going to come back. So
I'm super excited for Spyro.
I remember Spyro.
I played tons of it.
Yeah, I played Crash. I never played 1. 2, I remember playing vaguely. 3, I remember my buddy. I don't know how he got it, to be honest, but he had a copy of Crash without a case, and it was my birthday. And he was just like, hey, here's this game, dude. Now, I'm almost positive it was stolen. Almost positive it was stolen. But I couldn't prove it. So I was just like, thank you? And I didn't want to question him because it's like, hey, dude, did you steal this game from somebody? But he gave it to me for my birthday, and I 100%ed. Like, it was like 102 or 103% you could get to. I maxed out everything in that game. And I just kind of wanted that game. I didn't want the other two. I was just like, can I just get Crash 3? Like, I wouldn't mind playing that again. Yeah. And of course, Spyro.
I don't have that many memories of Crash 3. I remember 2. That was the one with the motorcycle levels, and I think you got to play as his sister a little bit.
I'm trying to remember as well, because I remember Crash Warped had different shit in it. Like, that was the one where things started getting weird, because there was just like different things that were going on. But again, like, I just remember playing it. I remember getting to that, like, that percentage of, like, I'm almost positive you can get to, like, in the game, 100% is not the highest. It actually goes to like 102 or 103 or something stupid. I just remember getting that and being like, that's cool. I achieved that. And that's about it. Like, otherwise I wasn't so into Crash that afterwards I like kept playing the new ones. I was just like, this game's cool. Otherwise I'm good.
Yeah.
Spyro, I honestly, I don't think I ever played a Spyro game fully. I remember playing all the demos for all of them because they were on.
I miss demos so much.
Yeah. I mean, well, you have demos now. They're just called betas because that's basically what they are now.
Pretty much.
Dude, if you had a PlayStation, if you were like PS1, PS2 situation and you had a beta access to something, you were like next level. You were like, holy shit, dude. You don't have a demo. You have a beta. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now the word beta is basically glorified demo. It's just like,
yeah, pretty much.
Hey, go test our servers to make sure they don't break day one. Can you guys do that, please? And everybody does. Like, yeah, sure. Same thing. Like, also in a way, like demos, it depends on the demo, right? Because some demos were incredible because they gave you exactly what the game had to offer in a very bite-sized chunk. Some of them I felt gave too much because there were some demos I could play over and over and be completely okay with. Like
almost every sports game growing up, I was like, yep, I have the demo. They let me play one game with like the choice of one or two teams, and that's all I need.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly like it's. I remember that happening because I had a game day demo, not even Madden, game day for PlayStation. I had a demo and I was like, man, that game's good. Then I got it for Christmas. I remember just going like, well, this shit's the same as the demo. I just get to choose different teams. This is dumb. I don't, I should have stuck with the demo. Tony Hawk was the same way. Tony Hawk first level, awesome. Like, iconic, really good. That was the one you could play over and over. Metal Gear had a demo that was awesome. It was basically, I think you got up until like Shadow Moses when you first show up and you like first go in the building. I think that's where the demo ended. But like, that showed you enough of that game to be like, holy shit, this game's really cool. But that was one of those that like, afterwards I felt, man, I want to keep playing that. But like some demos, you're right. I was just so happy just to have the demo and be like, I don't need a single thing else. This is perfectly good.
Yeah.
But that's how I think what happened with Spyro is like, I had demos for all of them and I was like, these are good, but I just didn't feel the need to go and buy it. But I was obsessed with Tony Hawk then, and that was kind of where I fell off gaming. I just played Tony Hawk all day long. That's all I wanted to do. That and actually skateboard. I was like, let's just do that. So you're excited though about the
I miss Tony Hawk.
Dude, you know what? I do, but I miss skate more. Like I do.
Yeah.
As much as I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I miss skate so much more. The day Skate 3 became backward compatible was like one of the best days ever. I was very happy about that. I started playing on my Xbox. Then literally I could not understand how this happened, but when the Xbox One X came out, they started talking, certain games are getting enhanced, and they mentioned Skate 3, to where I went, how does that happen? This is a 360 game. Like, what are you guys doing to make this better? I literally played it, and it felt like a brand new game. The graphics were so much better. Everything was crisp and clean. Textures were better. I was like, I'm so happy. At the same time, I got so pissed because I'm like, please just make Skate 4 and stop fucking
just do it. Yeah.
Just stop. Everybody, you should see that when you made Skate 3 backward compatible, sales of the digital version blew up. Like, how are you this dumb, EA? Knock it off. Just go make Skate 4. Please. Please. But no, I miss Skate.
I wish. So I miss Skate a lot. And I also miss BMX games. Like Dave Mirra BMX on GameCube. I played that to no end. I loved that game.
I miss I would say really good snowboarding games, but I mean, they're steep, but I don't think I gave it a fair shake. Like, I played Cool Borders on PlayStation, and that was when they started, they had like, I think they started with like Cool Borders 1, 2, 3, whatever. Then they started going off the year because they just kept pumping them out or whatever. But I think it was Cool Borders 2. You could like hold down the jump button and just keep tapping right on the D-pad. And then when you let go, it was like letting go of a spring and you just start spinning ridiculous amounts. And I just thought that was the funniest shit because you looked so ridiculous, like just spinning unrealistically fast. And I was like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, there were a couple of good. I remember playing Amped snowboarding a lot on my Xbox, and then SSX Tricky.
I wonder if Steep, yes, Tricky was the one that, I remember that was almost like a staple, because I worked at a game store where if you bought like a PlayStation 2, SSX Tricky was like $5 or something used at the game store. So that was like a staple. It was like, get a sports game, get that, get a random like whatever game, but like get like Dead to Rights, because it was like $5 or something. Get a shooter, get a sports game, get a snowboard, get Tricky, and there we go. That's our good $5 lineup in the used bin. So I'm trying to think. I don't even think I ever played Tricky. Man. I never played Steep. Like, I never gave Steep a fair shake, but I also...
Me either.
I mean, I know people that have played it and talk about it. I see people on my friends list playing it, but I'm just like, I got other shit. I'm good. Maybe because I don't like the snow anymore.
I don't know why.
I wanted to get away from snow, so maybe that's just it. I'm like, I don't want to see snow again. I'm good. Yeah,
I don't know why. I never really had an interest. Like, I remember all the snowboarding games I used to play, like, really fondly, but then when I saw Steep, I was like, eh. And then that news story broke that someone passed away making it.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was like, that's really heavy. I kind of almost want to buy it out of guilt now, but then I was like, I don't know.
They guilted you into doing it.
Yeah.
That's what would happen. They're like, by the way, someone died doing this. Like, what?
Yeah. I was like, Jesus, all
that's
right.
How I felt. What's funny, I didn't feel this, because I didn't know this ahead of time, but like, in Shadow of War, apparently it was a big deal, because in Shadow of War, a guy who was working on the team, I think he was one of the producers of the game, died somehow. I don't know how. Yeah. You guys can Google it, sure. But, like, they took his likeness and made him, like, an orc in the game. Like, made him a character that you could recruit and all that stuff. And during the credits, like, they show him, and then there's, like, a memorial of the guy where they have all these pictures, and, like, I'm just like, I mean, this was a good game, but now I'm sad as shit, because, like, I just watched this video of this guy who's like, who looks really happy, who is no longer alive, and they just put him in the game forever, which is cool. But I'm like, damn, you guys threw some heavy shit on me right at the end of the game when I was all happy. But
yeah, you guys couldn't do this at the start.
Yeah, real quick, make it like a separate cutscene that if you choose to watch, you can. But I remember there was some sort of shit about, like, I think they were going to sell DLC with this guy's likeness, and the proceeds of the DLC were going to go towards his family or some foundation of his. Yeah. But apparently the internet didn't like that, so then they canceled it and they just made him available in the game. I'm just like, dude, the internet makes everything bad. Except for people listening to the show and us talking on this show. So thank you, the internet, for that. But no, man, like, there was some sort of like backlash behind it. I'm like, dude, if the proceeds went to like the guy's family, why don't you shut the hell up? Like, why don't everybody buy this? Like, why are we giving this crap? I'm sure I have some sort of story wrong. I'm sure, Warner Brothers was going to get some sort of cut, and that's why they didn't want to profit. Like, I don't know. I'll have to look it up too, but I'm probably talking out of my ass, but who cares, right? Because you could do that on the internet. You could talk out of your ass and go, whatever.
It's one of the
something. Come at me. Exactly. That's what happens. You ended up getting PlayStation. Dad's playing it. You're playing Spyro. Were your parents encouraging when it came to gaming? Because obviously it sounds like your dad liked gaming, but like, were your parents cool about you playing games on a regular basis, or were they kind of like, knock that shit off, get out of the house, blah, blah, blah?
Well, a little bit of both. Like, I was allowed to play. When I was really young, there weren't really video game restrictions. I didn't have like, you can't play on weekdays or anything like that. There was you can't play before school, which I kind of did anyway a lot of the time, because I'd be ready before everyone else, and I was like waiting to be taken to a babysitter or to school. And yes, I'd be like, I'm just sitting here. Let me just play a level of like Crash or something. It wasn't until I got older that like certain restrictions were put on stuff, because I feel like that's when parents were starting to realize maybe they should do that. But yeah, overall, my parents were pretty supportive of it. They were the ones buying pretty much all of my games, getting me the systems, so they were pretty supportive of it.
I mean, that's encouraging too, because I mean, I know there's some people out there who didn't experience any gaming at like a younger age, because their parents were super against it and they didn't want them turning into mass murderers, because of course video games do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you're aware, but if you play a violent video game, you just start killing people, apparently.
Apparently.
Because
apparently we're the only ones who have them too.
Yeah,
No other countries in the world have violent video games.
Dude, did you know that Grand Theft Auto is only sold in the United States? That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, man.
I didn't know if you knew that. Rockstar has sold 60, 70 million copies of that game just in the United States. So, yeah, that's crazy. No,
oh, man. So insane.
So dumb. But no, like, there's parents, I mean, there's parents out there that don't encourage the gaming to begin with because of whatever stigma they have on it. But then there were some parents that were super cool to where they were like, yeah, I like playing games too. But yeah, I think there's a certain point when you have to kind of like, not necessarily like limit games, but just kind of be like, hey, just to let you know, this is a bit more important, like, than gaming.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's kind of what my son's going through. Like, my son loves gaming to death. Shocker, right? He has his own system. He has his own games. He's actually pretty good at like games like Titanfall. Like, he's decent, but also too, when you slip up on homework, I'm like, you can't play games right now. So that's kind of the only thing you have to like kind of level it off. Like, I just was at that, like, my parents never gave me crap about gaming because I always had good grades. So I never had a problem. But also too, if I acted a fool, and did some shit they didn't like, then that was absolutely the punishment, which has become the punishment for my kids as well. You know what's crazier though, is a cell phone is way harsher than video games. Oh my God.
Yeah, way harsher. Yeah.
Way harsher. That's like almost criminal.
I never had to choose between that stuff growing up. As I got older, that was pretty much the punishment. Like, when I was like middle school, then high school, it was like, all right, you can only play on the weekends. If you screw up, we're just taking the whole system. And that's what it became as I got like older. But yeah, and I never had to choose between my cell phone or my video games. But yeah, I think it would be easier to live without a game than my phone.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's sad because like us as adults, even if we don't have our phones, we have that like mini panic attack. Like, oh my God, I left my phone at home. Like, you kind of have that like disconnected moment, which is just sad, but true. Yeah. But it sucks, man. Like, I mean, there's moments where I don't have my phone. Like, I charge my phone in the other room on purpose to like leave it alone for a little bit. And I'm just like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then I come back and there's like 6 Twitter messages and 5 Facebook, things people tag me in, and 20 emails. And I'm just like, God damn it. But yeah, I mean, disconnecting from stuff. I mean, and also too, like the only thing I think that was a big concern back then, which again, depending on who your parents were or how you were, I should say as well, was like the physical activities thing. Cause if you were like not in the greatest shape as a kid, or, your parents were like, hey, you should get out of the house more and like run around and go do things and be more active instead of just sitting in front of a TV.
Yeah, I had, growing up, I was living with, my father and I were living with, this girl he was dating, and she had a son too. And they would literally say, we're locking the door, go play in the backyard. You can come back in at like 6:30. And they were like, if you're thirsty, the garden hose is like right there. Yes. And we'd just like play football. We'd do a bunch of stuff, but then we could come back in and play. But it was like, there was forced outside time. Right. It wasn't always needed, but sometimes they were like, just go outside.
Absolutely. By the way, shout out to people who drank out of a garden hose. Anybody who says it's disgusting, right? Tried it. Sorry. Okay, let me rephrase that. Depending on where you live. I grew up in Illinois. Drinking out of a hose was incredible. It was cold. It tasted good. It was well water. Tasted amazing. Can't do that shit in Arizona. It's disgusting tap water. It's real bad.
It definitely it helps the immune system get stronger depending on where you live.
Yeah, sure. It builds character. It probably also forms of cancer somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere, yeah.
No, dude, like, I remember that was the same thing. Like, I remember just get out. Just like leave, go somewhere. I don't care. And it's sad because like, and nowadays that doesn't happen because people think everybody's a murderer and a rapist, which, again, video games just made everybody a murderer, so we got to watch out for them. But,
so now we got to watch out.
Yeah, we got to watch out. You know what I mean? Because, goddamn video games.
It's interesting because I always hear those conversations about, especially because like I work with games a lot and stuff like that, whether I'm covering them or whatever. And I hear from like my extended family members who aren't into games themselves, but their kids are, will be like, oh, these kids are so strapped to their screens. And I'm like, well, would you let them go out by themselves for a while? And they were like, well, that's kind of dangerous. I'm like, that's part of the problem. Like, what do you want them to do?
Very valid point. What they want them to do is they want to put them in a padded room with nothing and just let them figure shit out in life.
Yeah.
No,
I think you have to like give your kids a certain amount of freedom.
100%. Like with my kids, that the one thing that's crazy though too is that in a way technology has made freedom safer because, for example, when I was a kid, there was no cell phones. So basically it was just like, where are you going? I'm going here. Okay, bye. Now, did I go there all the time? Or did I go there and then leave somewhere else and not tell my mom where I am? Or, you know what I mean? That happened a whole lot. Did I go places I shouldn't have gone where my mom told me don't go past that street, but I sure as fuck did? You're right. I did.
Yeah.
But now, like, when my kids walk to school every day. We live less than a mile away from the school. So they're like, cool, go ahead and walk. Now, the cool thing is with technology, they have a phone on them, which also has awesome apps where I can track where they are at every moment of their life if they have their phone, which, by the way, if you're a kid, you have your phone. So I'm just like, I know where you are at all times. So now I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, they'll say, hey, I'm going to go play over at my friend's house. I'm like, you have your phone? They're like, yep. I'm like, cool, have fun. Go do what you want. So I don't try to unless they start driving somewhere at 60 miles an hour and I'm like, you shouldn't be in anybody's car. What are you doing? Why are you going to Mexico out of nowhere? I don't know why. But no, like, I mean, it's safer in that way because I can tell where they are and I can also call them and they can call me and stuff. But dude, like, to just think about kids leaving, and it sucks because I guess it just depends on where you live. Like, I live in a pretty safe neighborhood, but also, again, everybody just assumes everybody's awful, which sucks because I remember that. I do remember my dad at one point in time going, stay the fuck away from that house. That was all he said. He was like, you can go anywhere except for that house. Stay the fuck away from there. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ask further questions. I'm kind of scared to ask them. But I think everybody had that one house that you were kind of like. Yeah,
everybody had that house on their block.
Everybody had that house. Like, hey, you stay the hell away from that house. That guy's kind of weird. Don't just avoid him. It's so, it is social media. Because now you know every bad thing that happens, so you assume everybody's awful.
Yeah.
And now we don't talk to one another. Like, my neighbors across the street, I've talked to them like 10 times, maybe. I've lived here 2 years. Like, for a while there, I didn't know who they were. I don't know. And now we have apps that can do that, so. That's what's sad now. Now we have an app that tells you who your neighbors are.
Oh no! Just start a Facebook group for the block, and that's how you can all talk.
That's basically Well, I mean, like like for example, there's an app called Nextdoor, which is basically just like you register your house and your family in your house, and then there's like it's like a message board for your neighborhood, but then it also says, here's who lives here. There's this, whatever. Like it kind of tells you in the area like who your neighbors are, which is cool, but also too, I'm like, dude, if I had to go over their house, it would be so awkward for anything. Like, I don't really know you, but something's going on here. Like, it's just weird. We don't talk to each other anymore. Like, nobody talks to each other because we're all terrified. But the internet's made it easier way easier to talk to people. When did it change from it's safer to talk to people on the internet than in real life? When did that change?
I don't know, because I grew up with like, I was growing up and like on the computer when it was like everything was like just beginning. AOL was like huge and everything. The internet was really unchecked and there was porn everywhere.
Just everywhere. And
it was either AOL mail or porn. That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, it was like, don't talk to anyone on the internet. Don't talk to strange people. Don't, whatever. And that's all we do now. That's what social media is. Like,
yeah, basically. Like, real quick, I wouldn't know who the hell you are if I didn't talk to a stranger on the internet. So yeah. It's just kind of weird because we do everything. Weird. Yeah, like the one comparison that somebody made fun of that it made complete sense. And they were like, we've told you for your entire life, don't get into a stranger's car. Now you have Uber where that's exactly what you do.
It's like, let us find you a stranger.
We're going to find you a reputable stranger who hasn't, from what we know, committed crimes. So you could just ride in his car where he will take you wherever the hell he feels like it because he's the one driving. Like...
Yeah, because he's the one driving.
Yeah, so it's just kind of funny, but and now, like I said, and that's what sucks about gaming too, because gaming used to be way more social because you would go to a buddy's house, you would sit down and play games together. Now the internet exists, so why do we do that shit?
Yeah.
Did you have like a lot of those kind of like co-op games that you would play with friends?
Yeah, like even from early on. So when I was playing games at other friends' houses, like as it went on and like they got like Nintendo 64, we'd play like GoldenEye together and we'd all just be sitting on the couch playing together. Like even when I went further to Xbox, we'd all sit around playing Halo together. And I think that a little bit later in like the Xbox's life cycle, when Xbox Live finally became a thing, we'd play online a bit more, but I feel like there was still pretty much like a good balance between like couch play and online play, like between me and my friends. But now I have friends who I haven't seen in forever, but I was just playing Fortnite with them the other day. Like it kind of changed after a while.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing too that sucks too is that game developers gave up for the most part on couch co-op just because, and the thing is, like, when I thought about why, it makes sense. Not because the internet exists, because think of a game like Call of Duty or Battlefront 2 or any of those types of games. The developer has to make the game work twice on the same system.
Yeah, for split screen.
Yeah, exactly. So when I started to think about that type of stuff, I'm like, shit, that's probably just awful for them. Like, by the way, you made this pretty game with nice textures and good frame rate, and real quick, make it run twice. What? Yeah. Like, that's shitty. Like, that really sucks. But the good thing, though, is, like, in a way, it depends on the games, but, of course, I moved to 1,700 miles from where I grew up. So, like, I still, like, the only way I socialize with some of my buddies back home is playing games. You know what I mean? That's how we socialize. But in a way, I have so much more fun when it's couch co-op lately. Me and my wife were playing Overcooked, and I'm not kidding.
I hear that game's great.
I have never laughed so hard playing a game because it's so silly and you're just screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Like, get me the fucking onions. I need onions now. I need to cut this shit. Like, you're screaming at each other playing Overcooked, and there was moments when my wife and I paused the game because we just could not breathe. We were laughing so goddamn hard. I describe it as the best couch co-op game, but also the game that could lead to a divorce in a second. Like, it could literally, it's like the most fun you've ever had playing a game and almost calling a lawyer to just leave your wife because you hate her. Like, and my buddy Brandon Don Huevos, who actually created the logo for the show, he asked about it. He's like, how's Overcooked? I'm like, it's amazing. You'll just buy it. You and your wife will love it. And then, like, I saw he was playing it, and then he stops, and I was like, how are you liking Overcooked? He's like, we had to shut that shit off, dude. It got heated. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, man.
Like, I'm like, was it that bad?
Had a bit of a different experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, though, like, there were levels where me and my wife were just like, we're trying to get 3 stars because we don't fuck around. We're like, we gotta get 3 stars. And you get 1 star, you're like, God, we suck. We need 3. And we were getting to a point where, like, we wouldn't leave the next level until we got 3 stars. But then, like, certain levels, we were just sitting there screaming at each other. And I'm like, all right, we have to go back to this one later. Like, we just can't do this shit. But, again, those moments where it was just funny and hysterical, we were laughing so hard. But now, like, certain games, like, me and my wife have been all over games like that, like Overcooked, Death Squared, Snipper Clips. Like, all those, couch co-op games have been so fun, and I miss the shit out of them. I really do.
Yeah, I think, like, the best memories I have of, like, couch co-op, or even just like playing over, like, LAN cable, was Halo, and then for just, like, couch co-op with my friends was Guitar Hero. Those games were incredible for that kind of stuff.
Right, dude. Guitar
and it sucks.
Hero, Guitar Hero Rock Band, that was next level shit. Because, like, that was, I think still that's the best party game, only because people who don't like games were still into it. Like, they like the fact that, oh, I know that song. Let's play that one. Like, it was absolutely, like, the best party game. 100%. And yeah, Halo LAN, there's no better joy. Like, screaming at a buddy on the other side of the room, like, how much they suck is so fun. Yeah. You're right in their face. You're just like, but that kind of shit talking back and forth, led to some, sleepovers getting parents pissed off, but really fun stuff.
Yeah, like, my dad and I, we used to play Halo 1, and he always accused me of screen looking when we played split screen. So he was so annoyed about it one day, he literally went out and bought another Xbox, bought another controller, and bought another copy of Halo and set it up in the next room. And we would just be screaming at each other from room to room playing. And like my cousins would come over, and so we'd play even bigger matches like from room to room, and it was super fun.
That's always, yeah, like that was when you also learned what an Ethernet cable and what a crossover cable was, because there was a fucking difference.
Yes.
There was a difference, and you learned the hard way when you were like, this shit doesn't work, and then they're like,
that was an extra trip.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, what do you mean crossover cable? And like, yeah, that was another conversation. But yeah, like I remember I had a buddy, his name was Chris. He was like, I won't say your rich friend, but he was definitely, his family had more money than my family did. So the day the Xbox came out, him and all of his buddies that he had from schools before, all of them are well off, and they all got Xboxes. And they all got Halo the day it came out. And they all got like 2 or 3 controllers each. And we set it up like 2 people upstairs, 2 people downstairs, wires just running all through his house. And we were just screaming the worst obscenities at each other, just as loud as you could, and just having a blast. And like I said, those are those days that I miss. And what's funny now is I've seen some people do couch co-op, quotations, couch co-op, where they just get 2 TVs, 2 Xboxes, and just fucking play Destiny together. Like they're just in the same room playing the same.
I think that's the best thing ever.
It is. Like, and that's kind of what we've resorted to, because now it's just like, you know, most games don't have split screen, or, you know, now games are, I would say, if there's an online component, most of the time it doesn't have a split screen component. But now the games that are couch co-op are almost in a way designed specifically just for that. You know what I mean? Like Overcooked is completely made with the idea of you playing with other people in the same room. The only thing that sucks about those games is when you want there to be an online component and there's not. Because you're like, fuck, I would like to play other people in this game online. But no, they didn't do that. They were like, we're going to do couch co-op and enjoy that. So
but it also might be a good thing, because I don't know if that would work as well with random people.
No, you're right. That particular game, dude, I couldn't imagine that would just be awful. That'd be so bad if I'm like screaming at them. They're like, man, fuck you and your mom. I'll go ahead and do this. And I'll report you.
And then somebody would just leave the party.
Leave the party in the middle of us cooking our dinners. God. That would happen. When you mentioned, I mention it all the time. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. When you mentioned screen cheating, you've heard of the game called Screen Cheat, right?
Oh, I haven't.
So Screen Cheat is a game where everyone is invisible. Everyone's invisible. The only way you can tell where somebody is looking at the other screens.
That's awesome.
So you have to just kind of like gauge, like, I'm looking at this stairwell and I'm looking on his thing and he's coming down the stairwell. So you just start shooting. Like, I remember hearing about that. And I'm like, that's the greatest thing ever. Cause there was always that one dude who claimed that. Always that one guy. He's like, bro, you guys just look at my screen, man. This is bullshit. I got you. So you can't blame lag when there was no internet. Like that was your excuse back then. Fucking screen.
Like, this is all local.
This is all, there's no lag. Or you had 2 different people. There was the people that would say screen cheat, or I got the shitty controller. Because everybody had that one shitty controller that like button didn't work as well. So they were like, you can get this one. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you find out like halfway through your game, what the fuck, man? I can't do anything with this button, man.
Yeah, you get the third-party controller.
Oh, dude, those third-party controllers. That was like, again, I was pretty poor, so like there was a lot of third-party accessories. Did you ever have any ridiculous shit like that?
The only one that I had were the ones with the fans built in.
Yes.
I got to admit, I'm a bit of a sweaty hand when it comes to like first-person shooters and stuff like that, or if I'm playing for a long time. And so that was I was like, I need to have this. This is the one thing that I need to have.
Yeah, like they had the fans. I'm trying to remember the name of them because I sold them at the game store, but I don't remember them. I don't remember
if it was a Mad Catz controller.
It absolutely was. There was no other brand. Like,
it had to be them.
They were absolutely the number one brand of like third party controllers, and some were just garbage, and some were good. I remember one controller we sold so much there was a controller called the Microcon, and it was a GameCube controller, and it was fucking tiny. It was so small, and it was more meant for like kids, but it was such a cheap controller that every time we sold GameCubes, they'd be like, let me get that controller, man. I'm like, real quick, just look at this controller before you buy it and realize this thing is like literally almost half as small as the actual GameCube controller. Are you sure you want this thing? But then what was funny is like some third-party accessories actually ended up being, and it's weird because there was officially licensed stuff that just wasn't made by them, right? So like Logitech, for example, had the best wireless PS2 controller. It was so awesome. It was officially licensed from Sony though. So for the most part, it was good. Like it was made to work. But then you have those third-party ones that were just garbage. Like they just completely weren't licensed and they didn't give a shit. But yeah, like the best Xbox controller, like even including the S, Logitech made a wireless Xbox controller that was outstanding. It was such a good controller, and I have preferred that over the Xbox controller. And it's weird because most of the time that shit doesn't happen. Now that will never happen. Like ever. I will never go like third party on controllers or anything.
Yeah.
Like the thing
I just have bad memories of third-party controllers as being the one that like you give to your friend. So I probably wouldn't do it either.
That was the punishment one. That was like, oh, my friend's over. Have fun with this. I'm gonna whoop your ass in GoldenEye now. Like, and N64 had some just obnoxious third-party controllers because they were like trying to change the controller to like fit differently. But the problem is like nobody remembered that like games were designed for that controller in mind. So some control configurations like of the third party stuff were even worse. Like that's the only thing I will say. Nintendo has some crazy controllers. N64, GameCube. However, the way they design their games around the controllers are pretty spot on. Like the way that just the buttons are, like Smash Melee, A is your main button and it's the biggest button. And you're like, this makes sense. This is like,
and it never feels gimmicky is the other thing. Like,
it doesn't.
With the PlayStation 4 controller, I love it, but that touchpad is such a gimmick.
It's awful.
And every time I need to use it in a game, I'm just like, this is stupid.
Do you just do the eye roll like, ugh?
Yeah, every time. I'm just like, oh, here we go. They're doing this again.
Dude, that's how I felt with 6-axis on PS3. I was like, number one, you got rid of Rumble. What the hell's wrong with you guys? Number two, you put this motion shit in there. And I remember playing Uncharted 1, and when you lob grenades, you had to pitch your controller for the arc. And I was like, this is atrocious. This is so
I'm so glad
bad.
I skipped that console.
Like it just, and again, like they tried to shoehorn it and they tried to do things with it, but it just never worked. Like I don't, the whole, and even same thing like with Vita with the back touchpad. Okay, I guess, but like, why? Like, I'm not trying. I'm trying to use my fingers in the back to support the console, not like add extra buttons and shit. You know what I mean? It just felt weird. I don't know why. And then the light on the controller for the PS4. I get why they had it in there because of not Move, but like VR. And initially, it was going to come with the camera and like blah blah blah. But dude, the PS4's battery life on those controllers, not so good.
And I hate it with a passion. And it will always die when you need it to not die. Like when you're in the middle of something. It won't happen in a menu or in a loading screen. It will happen when you're in a shootout with somebody, in a boss fight. It's the worst.
Yeah. I bought a second PS4 controller only to have one charged on standby. Like, I have it charged on standby, and as soon as this one dies, I just fucking throw it in the drawer, pick up the other one, hit the button. I'm like, all right, let's go. That's how I feel. That's the one thing lately, actually, that, speaking of third-party stuff, batteries. I bought an official Microsoft Play and Charge. Fucking amazing. It's so good. It works so well. It lasts so long. I actually just ended up having to buy a new one, and I bought it the day the system came out. And 4 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, or was it 4 years ago, something, whatever? 4 years ago, I bought this Play and Charge, and it's finally dying out. I buy my kids these like Energizer rechargeable ones, and they literally crapped out in like a year. I'm like, that's where I'm done with rechargeable batteries. Like if it's officially licensed from them, I'll get it from them. But I'm done with the third party stuff. That was the last straw. I was like,
it almost makes me
batteries.
miss wire controllers.
Yeah. Well, again, and what's funny is I actually, for the most time, I play my my Xbox One with my controller plugged in only because I'm so close to my system that it's like, whatever, I just plug it in. It's not a big deal, just so I don't ever have to worry about the batteries. But yeah, dude, that shit was happening when I was playing my PS4. I was playing Horizon. It's in the middle of shit. And I was like,
oh no.
It just died. I'm like, fuck it. Throw it in the drawer, grab the other one. Let's go. I don't have time for this
and
shit.
There are games that it's the worst in games that don't pause for you.
Yes.
If it detects that there's no controller, there are some games that'll literally just continue, and I'm just like, fuck. And you're running for the controller while everything's happening.
Yeah, worse. And again, everybody loves this game so much, but one little thing just threw me off. Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Monster Hunter. I have friends that don't play video games that are playing Monster Hunter. And the fact that you cannot pause the game, even if you're playing by yourself, pisses me off to no end. And I work from home. Sometimes my work is slow enough to where I can play games, but I can pause it, do my job real quick, and then go back to it. And
not Monster Hunter.
Dude, as soon as I literally got the game, I'm like, oh man, this game seems cool. And I went and hit pause, and nothing happened. And I'm like, huh? What are we doing right now? Why is nothing stopped yet? And then I tried to, because sometimes it's select instead of start. So I hit select, whatever, back, view, menu, whatever the fuck Xbox calls it. And it still didn't. And I'm like, I'm done. I've played the game for like 2 hours, and I'm like, I'm so irritated by the fact that I can't pause it, especially when I have kids who occasionally need some shit. And I'm like, I have to be able to stop at a moment to do that. Same thing with non-pausable cutscenes. Go to hell.
Yeah.
Please pause your cutscenes. Assassin's Creed was so good.
Yeah.
Like, Assassin's Creed Origins, you could pause that game during anything happening. And I was like, yes, you guys get it. Thank you very much. Yeah. That's why I'm hopeful that Far Cry is the same way, because it's Ubisoft. I'm sure it's the same thing.
Yeah. Hopefully. But yeah, I was tweeting about that the other night because it was frustrating the hell out of me. Every time I sit down to play Monster Hunter, someone needs something. Someone wants to text me. Someone wants to call me. And it's just like, shit, I just want to play. I don't want to have to worry about getting to the next stage of the fight and like making the monster flee so that I could do things for 2 minutes and then get back to the game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's again, some people are like, the one I don't get is like, if you're not online. I get it if you're online.
Yeah.
You're going to pause and fuck up people's game, like whatever. I get that. But like, if you're not online, why? Why?
If you're in your own session, it's
just stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's just stupid. But whatever, that happens. I feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto Online, but that's a completely different job. Like, no, you're not going to pause that.
Yeah.
You'll just stand there and get killed over and over. So that's all right. So obviously you've continued gaming, and your gaming habits now are so you said you skipped PS3. Where did you just go 360 then?
Yeah. It was, my house was like a 360 only household that, for that generation.
Good man. I'm just fine.
Sony screwed everything up with the PlayStation 3.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. I mean, it kind of sucks because it sucks, but it's the curse of the third console. If you think about it, Sony was on top of the world with PS2, and they were like, we're fucking Sony, we could do what we want. Our new system's $600 and you'll get a second job for it. And no one said yes. Yeah. Like, no one was down.
It was really weird.
Yeah. And then, like, look what happened. Xbox had that same cockiness. They went into the Xbox One, they were like, you guys like TV and sports and online always, guess what we're doing? And then everyone's like, nope, we don't want any of that shit. But then it's just you have to get humbled to figure out where you suck, and then you'll come back better. And that's why like PS4 came out and was like, we're sorry. here's a really good console with like, it's all about games. We're not doing home. We're not going to charge you $600. We're not doing any of that stupid shit. We just want you to play games on it. Please come back. And everybody did. So, now Microsoft, I won't say they need a whole console generation to do it, but like, they've obviously done a lot to try to make it better. Which I've owned an Xbox One since day one, because I've always been an Xbox guy ever since that came out, and I'm not upset that I got it. I'm super happy at what it's at now, though, because without you getting kicked in the face like that, I don't think you come up with shit like Game Pass or backward compatibility or, you know what I mean? Like, there's no incentive for you to want to keep pushing if you're in first place. And that's why Sony, they're just like, we don't give a shit. Like, people are going to buy our console for Destiny if they want. Like, nobody, we don't. That was for like 2 years. PS4 had such slim exclusives because they didn't need them. Like, all the third party shit was selling them.
they were even getting like all the timed exclusive stuff that had been long standing with Microsoft, like their deals for Call of Duty and stuff like that. They were taking everything from Microsoft for a bit.
Yeah, and it sucks because like for a while there, Microsoft had every third-party exclusive on lock, like everything.
Yeah.
Like every fucking game had something. I mean, and then now they swung it around. The only thing that's like really kind of shitty at Microsoft is they were like, we're not a fan of exclusive deals. Like, you sure? Because like 8 years ago you were. Like 8 years ago you fucking loved them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the exclusive. I don't necessarily disagree with exclusivity on like consoles, because guess what? These companies aren't making games for charity. So it's going to be pretty hard to say no when Sony's like, yo, you like this check we just wrote out for you?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, right? It's all business. But I don't ever feel like, oh my God, Xbox got this one mission, or, you know, PlayStation got this one mission in Watch Dogs that I didn't. I'm so upset. Fuck off. Like,
yeah, I'm a huge Destiny fan, and people made a huge deal over that. They were like, Sony's getting everything. They got 2 strikes, an extra PvP stage, like, and then everyone on Sony was like, it's not that great. Like, you're not missing out on that much.
Yeah,
you're missing out on a gun,
leftovers.
And it wasn't that great.
You got the shit that was on the cutting room floor of them like, we don't want this. Oh wait, Sony wants to give us money. Let's we made this for them. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we were going to cut it from the game or anything. So I've never once got like to the point where I got so butthurt over something like that. The only thing that I worried about, which I don't think has happened, was when the Xbox One X came out, and like Sony had some deals with certain companies and they weren't getting Xbox One X updates. And that's the one I was like, please tell me you guys did not do Sony PS4 Pro updates, but you're not going to do Xbox updates because of some exclusivity deal or whatever you had. Because that's what happened with Metal Gear 5. Metal Gear 5, even though it came out on both consoles same day, right? There was no exclusive shit. It had a PS4 Pro update, but it never got an Xbox One X update. And I'm like, I don't know if that's just because Konami doesn't give a fuck, which could be completely true. But I mean, like, that's like, I got real concerned when that shit started happening. I was like, dude, please make sure that any of these exclusivity deals aren't hurting graphical upgrades. But again, why would Sony want Activision to make Destiny look better on Xbox One X over PlayStation? You know what I mean? That's the only thing I got like super worried about. It's like, please don't do that. Like, just let these developers make the game how they want. And if you don't have as powerful of a console, fucking make a new one, which they are, and everybody is, and it's fine. But it is what it is. So.
The only time that's ever bothered me was when I had to wait a year to play the last Tomb Raider game, because it was a timed exclusive for a year, which I think is an insane amount of time. Yeah,
that's a lot. I mean, it's swinging both ways, but also too, like, I think even like Xbox, well, they still did it last year because they did it with Rise of the Tomb Raider, which, and it sucks for it sucks for Crystal Dynamics because like that game is fucking amazing. It is such a good game. And then a year later, nobody gives a shit about it because everybody's like all mad about whatever happened, you know. Dead Rising 4 was the same way. Came out last year, not 2017, 2016, Christmas. By the way, one of the best Christmas games you can play. Buy that game, play it during Christmas, shit's amazing. But then it came out a year later on PS4 with all the DLC, and I guarantee you the hype for that game was completely, I mean, not that there was much hype for it to begin with, but like, nobody cared about it when it came to PS4, and that sucks. Crash is now the same way. Because Crash Insane Trilogy, PS4, it's literally coming out a week later than the year. Like, 1 year and 1 week later, it's coming out on everything else. So, that's happening. I don't know if Spyro's going to do that, though. I don't know.
I hope not. Maybe they'll learn a lesson.
Maybe they will, but also, too, I mean, that thing sold... Dude, the Crash trilogy sold so well. So, let me phrase that. Surprisingly well. Like, just really odd how it was on, like, top of the charts in the UK for, like, weeks in a row. I'm like, wow. What the hell? Like, and then people played the game and go, this game's hard. Yeah, no shit. You forgot that Crash 1 wasn't the greatest game ever. Yeah. You just, again, that nostalgia fucked with your head. You just like, oh yeah, man, Crash is good. And then you realize, like, oh yeah, these games aren't that easy, and the controls are a little stiff, and Yeah, that's the only thing that's dude. It's
yeah,
funny.
another way, like they shot themselves in the foot with Titanfall being an exclusive to Xbox One. That, like how you mentioned it earlier that your son was into it, like Titanfall is one of the greatest shooters I think I've ever played in my life, and like
so fucking good.
No one who didn't have an Xbox didn't play one. I mean, I played it on my PC, so I didn't have to go out and get an Xbox, but it was really sad how that's sort of been shoved to the side because of it.
Dude, Titanfall 1 was the most proud moment of being like, when you had an Xbox One, when everybody fucking laughed at you, when they were like, yo man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you screwing up in life? Get a PS4. I'm like, nah dude, I'm gonna have this Xbox. And then Titanfall came out. So many people shut their mouths because that game was phenomenal. And
it's amazing.
It's so good. And then Titanfall, everybody bitched, it didn't have a single player, it was basic. Then Titanfall 2 comes out, and the single player is such a good story. It's so good. Comes out on everything. But then EA screws it so hard by putting it out in between Battlefield and Call of Duty. Why? Like, why would you do that to that game? That game is... And it sucks because it's so highly regarded and barely played. Like, now you can get the game with everything. Granted, the DLC was free.
Yeah. What? I picked it up again recently because it was on sale. Yeah. And all my friends on my friends list were playing it again, and they were like, why didn't we play this? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because everything else came out right around the same time. Like, literally, it was Battlefield, Titanfall, Call of Duty. And it sucked because I was all like, fuck Battlefield and Call of Duty, because Titanfall 2 is awesome. My brother-in-law, who is very much a Sony guy, when he got his Xbox, I got him, like, he made out like a bandit. He lived in Minnesota. I told him, because we were trying to get him to move out to Arizona, I was like, if you move out here, I will buy you an Xbox One. And I'm not kidding. And he's like, haha, very funny. Then he said he was moving out here, and I bought him an Xbox. And I bought him, like, Titanfall and all that shit. Year later, he moved back to Minnesota, so he took the Xbox, so good for him. But no, like, he got Titanfall, and he's like, dude, this game is so good. I'm like, yeah, it is. And when it came out, Titanfall 2, of course, he was happy it came out on PlayStation 4. But yeah, I'm like really sad, and I hope that game gets a sequel. Or let me phrase that, another one, because I love the shit out of that game.
I hope so, but you know what I think is really, really fucked up is that Call of Duty ran that entire genre into the ground.
They fucked it up. They never did it right.
They ruined it completely. And everything. One time I did a video showing back to back how much of a ripoff all of those like futuristic Call of Duty games are from Titanfall.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I feel like they should have sued because it was almost like cut and paste. It's ridiculous. And now nobody wants any of these futuristic, jump jet first person shooters. And it's really sad because Call of Duty never did it as well as Titanfall.
Titanfall's movement was literally one of the best movements in a first person shooter I've ever seen. When they added the grappling hook in 2, where you could literally throw yourself around a building, and like the momentum you had with it, and how you could like land and slide and just I'm like, this is insanity, and it's so good, and it's so fluid. And I've seen some shit on Reddit and YouTube and all that stuff of like Titanfall kills that are just will blow your fucking mind. And then Call of Duty's like, we can do wall run. I'm like, oh, no, you can't. It's just not the same. It's not good. Please stop. And now, like you said, you're right, because now it's just nobody gives a shit. But now,
I feel so bad for them. It's like complete robbery.
Oh, it was very bad. It was very rough. And, now it's okay, because people are going to get sick of World War II shit soon. So, that World War I, World War II, because then, dude, in PlayStation 2 era, it was Vietnam. Everything was Vietnam, like everything. And then, like, all of a sudden, Call of Duty was like World War II, and then Modern Warfare happened. And, shout out, still, Modern Warfare 1, still incredible. Like, still, like, again, the same people that made Titanfall. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
Vince Zampella, you're a goddamn genius. Keep making games. Appreciate you. So obviously gaming has led you to do things. It's inspired you to do things in your life. What are you doing now? Like, you obviously do things in the industry. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what
to
are
a
you
small
doing
extent,
now?
but yeah.
Yeah. No.
Right now, I'm currently I've just been working. Every once in a while, I'll sort of pull back from contributing to different sites and just kind of get back to basics of like changing my style of whether it's writing or doing video stuff. So I've pretty much just been doing video work. I also work a bit on a mod for Skyrim that I've worked on for like a couple of years with this modding team. So I've been working on that as well.
That's awesome. And it's cool that obviously you have taken something that you enjoy and turned it into, something constructive and everything, which is kind of similar to, you're doing more shit than I've ever, like the whole modding thing. Like, I remember when I was younger, I said I wanted to be a video game programmer. Like, that was literally I said that as like a fucking 8-year-old. I was like, I want to be a video game programmer. And then I remember the very first class in high school, I took a computer programming. I was like, fuck this. Like, this is not fun at all. But yeah, everybody's doing their own constructive things and stuff. And I think it's awesome that video games have led us and, we're meeting because of video games. I wouldn't know who the hell you are because, you didn't grow up near me. And now the internet and video games has brought so many awesome people together and they're doing their own projects and stuff. And that's super awesome. So, if people wanted to check you out and all the things you do, where would they go?
They could check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/darkwinter51, or just check me out on Twitter at Alan, ALAN7615.
And of course, what about, I don't think you have Xbox. What about your PlayStation handle?
My PlayStation handle, it's Spectre7615, SPECTR. Yeah.
And I will have links in the show notes for all of that stuff as well. So if you guys want to check out any of the cool shit he does on the internet, I met him through Twitter. So, I'll be checking his stuff out. And of course, go on YouTube, and everybody's bored. Go to YouTube. You go to YouTube already for random shit. Just go watch his videos while you're at it, right?
Bunch of playlists. Just let them play in the background.
Yeah, just get you those views, son. Get you that ad revenue. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, just playing playlists in the background. Yeah, that works, right? Just, I guess people do the same thing for Spotify. Just play this song on loop. Just let this play. And then you get a fraction.
I was doing that earlier because I had been watching something. Yeah, I was watching something on YouTube earlier, but I was playing Monster Hunter on my other monitor, and I just wasn't even paying attention to YouTube anymore. It was just going through a playlist while I was playing Monster Hunter.
Well, that's very nice of you, and like I said, if anybody wants to do that, I'll link to his YouTube there, so you can go do that as well. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your stories, and I appreciate you being on.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, and again, thank you, Alan, for being on the show. If you guys want to check him out on Twitter, feel free to do that. His Twitter is at Alan7615. You could also check him out. He does freelance writing for a couple different websites, and he also has his YouTube. I will have links in the show notes for all of the above. Again, feel free to just turn on a playlist and do something else with your life and help him get some views, because, it's all about the views and the clicks and the downloads, right? Not really, but hopefully you guys will watch his content and enjoy it. So I enjoyed chatting with him. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Of course, I also have a website, gugpodcast.com, which doesn't get updated enough. That's my own fault. And also a Facebook group, which is Growing Up Gaming. Just search that in Facebook. You'll find it right away. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm actually very close to coming up on 1 year. Recently, I just had a 1 year anniversary of being on Sean's show, We the Gamer Cast, where he was one of the more influential people in helping me start this show. I've almost hit 1 year now, and it's because of all you awesome people that have asked to be on the show. I'm looking to do some other types of episodes as well, mix up some things, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. But thank you guys so much for listening. Seriously appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next week.